This is Professor Asif Iqbal Mullah. So today our topic of discussion is embedded firmware design and development. So in that we are first going to discuss what is the embedded firmware and what is the responsibility of embedded firmware, right? Then we will go to discuss various type of firmware design we used. So various approaches we use to design a firmware, which we are going to discuss next in this topic. So first we'll see what is the responsibility and what is the embedded firmware and its responsibilities. So let's see. The embedded firmware is responsible for controlling the various peripherals of the embedded hardware and generating the response in accordance with the functional requirements mentioned in the requirement for a particular embedded product. So here embedded firmware is responsible for controlling the various peripheral. Actually it is a program. It is a program written by using several languages, several different types of languages. It can be written in assembly level language, it can be written in high level language. So this program is responsible for controlling all the peripherals, and it you see, the firmware is considered as a master brain of the embedded system, right? It is a master brain of the embedded system. So imparting the intelligence to the embedded system is one time process, and it can happen any stage. It can be immediately after the fabrication of the embedded hardware or later stages. So it is a very important point here noted down. The actually the whatever you design means whatever you manufacture by the hardware devices you assembled. After assembling the hardware devices, the design of embedded system is not over. So you need to put the intelligence to the system, embedded system, so that it can work according to your requirement. That intelligence we can put into the embedded system in terms of firmware, means in terms of a program which we are loading into the embedded product, into the controllers, processors we used in the embedded system. So in case of hardware, see, here the thing is so here the you can see, once the intelligence is imparted to the embedded product by embedding the firmware in the hardware, the product start functioning properly and will continue serving the assigned task till hardware breakdown occurs or a corruption in the embedded firmware occurs, right? So here you can see clearly the point. Once the intelligence is put, the embedded system will continue work in proper functioning. Only that it will stop its working when some hardware is get damaged or firmware is corrupted, right? When hardware get damaged, you need to replace the proper hardware, and when firmware get corrupted, you have to reload the firmware, right? So most of the embedded system, you can see, for most of the embedded system using a RAM memory, which is fixed memory. You cannot alter that, you cannot change it, you cannot reload it, right? So if such kind of embedded system, the hardware, the firmware is corrupted, then it is a difficult, it is very difficult right, that you have to reload it. So you need to replace the whole memory system, whole memory hardware, right? So therefore, so today's most of the embedded system, they utilizing NVRAM or a flash memory for their operation, flash memory for their operation, so that you can easily reloaded the firmware. The design embedded firmware requires understanding of particular embedded product hardware, like various component interface, memory map details, IO port details, configuration, register details of various hardware chips used, and some programming language. Means design of embedded firmware requires so various understanding here, right? So it should it should understand where is the IO, what is the IO port detail, and configuration of register, memory details, right? So like various component interfacing, and what kind of the language we are using. So those, all those things it should be understanding. So therefore, so here we can say that embedded firmware is a program, or it is a intelligence which we are putting into the system in the form of program, right? So that deals with all the requirements of the embedded system. Means it will give the life to the embedded system, so that it can perform various operation, right? So let's we see the embedded design firmware design approaches here. There are two firmware design approaches we are going to discuss here. There, one is conventional procedure based firmware design. The second one is the embedded operating system based design, right? The conventional procedure based design is also known as super loop model type of a design. Let's we see this conventional procedural based firmware design, which is the super loop based approach. The super loop based firmware development approach is adopted for embedded application, right, are not time critical, and whereas where the response time is not so important. It is similar to the conventional procedural programming, where the code is executed task by task. The task is listed at the top of the program code, is executed first, and the task just below, right, top are executed after completing the first task. This is a true procedural one. See here, the thing is, in this kind of approach here, it is just like a sequential programming, right? Here executing the operation in task by task, one task after another sequentially, right? So here this kind of approach is a not a time critical approach, right? And we can utilize this kind of firmware design approach to the embedded system where the time is not critical, where the time is not important, right? So here how actually how this type of approach is given in step by step here. In the first we need to configure the common parameters, perform initialization for various hardware components, memory, register, etc. So these are the points which is given for the firmware execution flow. How this firmware execution flow will be there in a super loop design of firmware approach. So here first we need to configure the parameter, performance initialization, then we have to execute means configure the parameters, and we have to initialize and memory, register, etc. Then second one is start task, first task, the again next task, second task, third next task, and it is goes on to last task. Then after that, in the eighth point, you see the jump back to the first task and flow same again. See, this will be repeated in kind of in this kind of design approach. You can see the same it is given in the form of C program. So here how this approach of firmware design is. So here you see, first you need to configuration. So configuration function is given, then we have need to initialization function is then given. After that it is continuously executing the several tasks, right, within a while one loop, means continuously executing this within this loop. The here it is executing task by task, task 1, task 2, task n, and so on. It is continuous, right? So here see, almost all the tasks in the embedded system, same thing it is given, right? So task by task it is executing. See, the super loop design doesn't require operating system, since there is no need for scheduling each with which task is to be executed and assigning the priority for each task. So see here, no need to scheduling here, because scheduling concept is only we are utilizing in the concurrent programming, not in the sequential programming, because sequential programming is scheduling here is a fixed, means task 1, task 2 must be executed after executing the task 1, it is a fixed. Task 3 must be executing after the executing of task 2, and goes on. It is last task is executing after all tasks are executed sequentially. So therefore no scheduling, no the priority setting, this priority, it means here task priority will not be there. So all is having same priority, right here. So all it is executing one after another. No first no particular task is given any priority. So therefore the operating system, it is not required here. This type of design is deployed in the low cost embedded system, definitely. So for example, you can see writing a data to and from the card using a card reader requires a sequence of operation, like first it is checking the presence of card, right? Then it is authenticating whether card is authenticating the operation, means whether the card is original or not, proper or not, authenticated or not. Then it is performing the reading and writing operation. See, it is all the tasks are sequentially here. It should be strictly follow the specified sequence and combination of series of tasks, right? So typical super loop product is electronic video game. You can see the typical here embedded product example is electronic video game toy containing the key pad and display unit. The program running inside the product may be designed in such a way that it reads the key to detect whether the user has given any input. If any key is pressed, it will detect it and graphically display is updated. The keyboard is scanning and display is updating happen reasonably high rate. Even if application misses a key press, it won't create any critical issue, right? So therefore this kind of this thing is utilizing in a such as example of this super loop based method which we are utilizing to design the firmware of electronic video game, right? So further here the super loop design is a simple and straightforward without any same thing is the major drawback of this. So major drawback of this is if any failure in any single task, so whole program will be the program will be no use, because this is executing sequentially. For example, if say task 2 is get failure, there is a failure in the task 2, right? Then you cannot execute the task 3 till you execute the task 2. Hence the task 3, task 4, task 5 and end of the task is not executing, only first task is executing, and after that it will come to the second task. Since the second task is not executing, which is corrupted, you cannot execute further the tasks. Okay, so therefore we can say that any failure in any task will not be will make a problem here. There are remedial measures for overcoming this: use of the hardware software watchdog timer, right? So we can use here hardware software watchdog timer, so that when that task, any task is get failure, so timer has to wait for that failure, right? If that task is not executed within the specified time, then the watchdog timer will give the signal, so that you come out from that task and execute the next task, right? Or you can turn out a whole system, or you can give the message of failure of the task, right? So the but that is also, you require a separate hardware watchdog timer, so which will cost the system, which will increase your system cost, right? And this is the firmware overhead. Another major drawback of this approach is lack of real timeliness. If any number of the tasks to be executed within application increases, the time at which each task is to be repeated also increases. See here, unnecessarily we need to repeat the task here. So if you executing sequentially, so because suppose say we need that our task 3 is a very important task, which task is to be executed repeatedly. All right, so if you want to execute the task 3 repeatedly, you must execute the task 1, task 2 is also repeatedly, because after executing task 1, task 2, then only the task 3 is to be executed. So therefore unnecessarily we are executing the task 1, task 2 and other tasks also, so to execute the task 3 repeatedly. So this will be eat extra time, right? Extra time, it will take extra time to execute the task unnecessarily, which is not required to execute repeatedly, right? So here the best example here is, there will be a task for monitoring the keyboard connecting to IO device, and this needed not to be a task running while you press the key. See, this is what happened when you press the key. You need to see whether the key is pressed. There is a task which is seeing whether the key is pressed, right? So when key is pressed, then it will take the input from the key, right? So this task is continuous task, it has to see, right? So if you want to execute this task repeatedly, right, you need to execute other task in the program repeatedly, because this task is to be executed sequentially, right? So therefore here unnecessarily this task we are keep on watching, right? So keep on watching, so in a for the monitoring the keypad, right? Such kind of a task, such kind of problem we have in a super loop design. The disadvantage, we have a super loop design, right? So therefore to overcome this, we using the embedded operating system based approach, there also we have some certain advantage and as well as some disadvantage, which we will see in the next session. Till then, you take care. Bye bye. Be safe. Stay in home.